Good day, lovers. How you all doing? So, if you are new to this my channel, please before you go, click on the subscribe button, like, and also share. Now we are going to be doing analysis on all our USD pairs. So I want you to sit back, watch, and if you have any question, please ask in the comment section. I'll answer it. Let's start with our Euro USD. By the way, let's start with our weekly time frame. I think that will be good. Okay, see it with our weekly time frame. We all can see our price is below our 10 period moving average one, and we can also see the trend. It is actually a downward trend. So all what we should be looking for, especially if you want to trade it weekly for the week, we have to look to short. You need to short this our trade. By the way, you need to short this our Euro USD. So time to enter is very, very crucial, and when to trade, that is it. But now see it weekly time frame, we are actually on a downward trend, by the way, and we can see this we see that we had this drop, right? I'll start from here. We had this drop and we had another pullback here. If you see that this our pullback was our previous lower lows, this was our previous lower lows, this is our recent lower lows, and we had this pullback. Now we are now having a drop, and guess what, this our drop has now broken this our previous lower lows, and what is it is that we are still going to be, we now have a new lower lows, which means on our weekly time frame like this, we are actually now dropping. We will continue to drop. At least if you have to look at this, we would at least have about 200 to 300 pips drop. Let's take a look from here. This is about 300 pips drop from year to year. I think from this lows to year, this is about 300 pips. Now, so we can see that of these recent lows, our new lows, we are going to be having about 300 pips. So we should be aiming between this week and next week, we should be able to hit 300 pips. That is on our weekly time frame. Now on our daily time frame, by the way, we can see that this was our lows here. This was our previous lows here. We can see this week here, but this our price has now broken below it, by the way, and we are kind of seeing something like a pullback area, but it will still drop. By the way, we can see that our price has broken this our previous lower lows here, and now we are having something like a pullback. Once we have this pullback finish, we are going to be having a drop again. So weekly time frame has indicates that we should consider going short. Daily time frame now is actually now showing us to go short. We can see this pullback here, 1 2 3 4, this pullback area here. So we should consider going short on our daily time frame. And let's see our 4-hour time frame. We can see on our 4-hour time frame, by the way, we are still on an uptrend move, by the way. So we do want to take a buy on this our 4-hour time frame. If you are to enter this trade, we are to look at our 1-hour and 4-hour time frame. We all can see our 4-hour time frame, it is still uptrend. So we should actually consider probably shorting, but it's still uptrend. Possibly we can wait till our 4-hour time frame drop and break these lows here. Our lows which is about 0.99. We are currently trading at 0.99646. If this our 4-hour time frame can drop to 0.99069, then we can actually short this trade and try to grab 200 300 pips. That is what you want if you want to grab it or so. And now our 1-hour time frame, still an uptrend move. You can see this highs, a pullback here. You can see this highs breaking this previous highs here, pullback. See this highs, we can see this. If you have to see it on our daily time frame and weekly time frame, you can see it will be like a huge week, by the way. But on the long term, which is our daily time frame, we all can see that we are actually going short. So daily time frame, you can see this as a pullback, but weekly time frame, you will see this as a huge week, while our 4-hour and 1-hour time frame is actually an uptrend move. So by the way, if you have to enter this trade, look at your 4-hour time frame. When it has broken this our lows here, then we can now take our short position on our Euro USD. That is it. Now next pair we have is our GBPUSD. Now let's start with our weekly time frame. We all can see our weekly time frame. It is an downward movement, by the way. We're actually going down. Weekly time frame, we are actually dropping. We all can see that if we are to place our moving average, let me see if I can get it. Moving average, I'll use 10 period moving average. It is below our 10 period moving average. If you have to even see it, if you have to make a correction and put 20 period moving average, it is still below our 20 period moving average. Even 50 period moving average, it is still below. So for the sake of this analysis, I will use 10 period moving average, short, so it show our short time frame, by the way. So that is it. GBP USD, if you are to see it, 10 period moving average, it is below, so we should consider shorting this. And another thing is that this was our lows here. I will start from here. This was a drop, we had a pullback here. From year to year, we can see this our drop. We had a drop of about 500 pips, which is far better than our Euro USD, which is about 300. Is it 300 pips? This is about 500 pips drop. Now we had a pullback. Now we've had this drop, and guess what? This drop has broken this our previous lows. If you have to examine it very well, it has just broken our previous lows. This our lows, we just, it has broken below it. So if you are to go short for the weekly time frame, if you are to trade it weekly time frame, you will possibly be aiming to grab 300 to 500 pips. At least it will take us about 2 weeks to actually grab that our 300 to 500 pips, by the way, on our GBPUSD. So we should consider grabbing about 300 to 500 pips on our GBPUSD, which is something that we can actually get in 2 weeks. So that is our weekly time frame. Daily time frame, we can see a drop, by the way. It is actually foot trend, downward trend. Once again, our price is below our 10 period moving average. One. Secondly, we had a pullback here, right? Let's see it, by the way. This was a drop. This was our previous lows here. Then we had a pullback, rallying. We had a pullback, which was higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, so on it goes. And now we had another drop again. This drop has broken this our previous lows. If you to see our previous lows was about 1.1762. Now our price has broken our previous lows. We are currently at 1.17380. So that is it. We have now broken our previous lows, and we are kind of having sort of like a ranging movements here. I think kind of a ranging movement. You can consider it as a pullback, by the way. So what are we expecting after this? Another huge, massive drop, which will be going down to about 300 to 500 pips. Those of us that want to grab it, and it will be about, if you are looking at the point, then it will be 5,000 points. If it is the pips itself, you'll be looking at 500 pips. So about 300 to 500 pips we will be grabbing, possibly in 2 weeks time. We should be able to hit it, by the way. So daily time frame too, we should look to consider to short. And again, once we add this pullback, this our pullback hits our 10 period moving average. If you know trend move, once we are having higher highs, higher lows, or lower lows, lower highs, once this we add this our lower highs here, this our lower highs actually hits our 10 period moving average, and it has dropped. That is an indication it is time to actually now consider going in on our daily time frame. Now to actually pull the trigger to actually take our short position, we would now go to our 4-hour time frame. And this our 4-hour time frame is kind of ranging, by the way. So we can see this highs here on our 4-hour time frame. Daily time frame, it is going short. Weekly time frame short. 4-hour time frame, we all can see it is actually ranging. We can see this ice drop, ice drop, ice drop. So if you are a day trader, you can actually consider trading the range, but we are looking at it from the weekly 1 point. So this is our lows here. To actually take our shots on our 4-hour time frame, then we can actually wait for our 4-hour time frame to break below this our huge candlestick. Let me zoom it here. You all can see this candlestick wick here, which is about 1.17773. So once our 4-hour time frame drops below it and breaks below it, then I'll advise you take your short position on our 4-hour time frame. And now 1-hour time frame, basically just like our 1-hour time frame is just like it. You can see this is actually ranging, and we have started to have this massive drop, which very much, if you can have it this lows here about 1.1717, you can actually now short our 1-hour time frame. So that is it on our GBP USD. Now our USDJPY, starting with our daily time frame, full trend. By the way, it is an uptrend move. By the way, we all can see it is actually going up. By the way, on our USDJPY. Now, guess what? This highlight that I just did is, when I'm doing daily analysis, I'm just highlighting it. So those who are following should actually see how we predicted all this move and how we got to this highlight move. So now on our weekly time frame, we are actually now on an uptrend move. By the way, we all can see that our pullback on this our higher highs is actually over. We see this was our higher highs here. This was actually a pullback area. Now, once our pullback is over, we are now aiming for another highs again. And guess what? We are actually rallying to that highs. So if you are a day trader on this our weekly time frame, I will advise you take your buy position to this our current highs, this our previous higher highs. This was our previous higher highs, and it was around 139,480. Our previous higher highs was about 139,480. So currently we are at 137. So if you are a day trader, within 2 days you should be able to hit this our previous higher highs. That would be about close to 200 pips. So that would be about 195 pips, which is good pips. We'll be able to grab within 3 days. We should be able to grab it 3 days. So that is it on our USDJPY weekly time frame. So if you are a day trader and you want to trade it when the market opens, then you can actually now take your buy. You should be able to grab more than 100 pips, close to 200 pips, which is actually good. So weekly time frame, we have had this pullback. Our pullback is over. Now we are now starting to have another rally movement upward. So weekly time frame still highs, by the way, and again our price is above our 10-period moving average. So daily time frame, we all can see this was actually our highs here. We all can see movement upward. We had a pullback here. We had another rally movement upward. We all can see this pullback. After this pullback, what are we expecting again? A rally movement upward again. That is why I said if you are a day trader or swing trader, within 2-3 days you should be able to take your buy to this our highs here. We all can see this our previous highs, which I've just highlighted here. This was our previous high. So if you can take, because it is very sure that our USD JPY to actually take out this ice. So we should consider going long on this. So once you can take it, boom, then we should be able to grab about 200 pips. And once it hits this our previous highs, one thing I know is that we will be having a drop again. At least, I'm just saying, we might have this drop that might fall rapidly. So I'm not here to predict that. I'm not trying to tell you that we might have, but at least we should have this drop to this our previous area where our price came back to test. We can see that our GBP USD is dropping, which means if our GBP is dropping, our USD will be rising. Our Euro will be dropping while our USD will be rising, which means once all those prices are dropping, which means there will be more strength on our USD to our JPY, which means once we have this pullback, once it hits this our highs on our daily time frame, then we will be having a pullback and again a rally movement upward to break this high. So if you want to go long term, 1, 2, 3 weeks, then I'll say consider buying your USD JPY to hit about possibly 400 to 500 pips. I believe we will have a massive movement on our USDJPY. So consider grabbing, 400, 500 pips, by the way. But once currently we are currently trading at 137, and our previous higher highs was 139. So consider going up, take out this our previous higher highs, then we might see a drop again, then a continuous movement upward on our USDJPY. Now on our 4-hour time frame, we all can see this. It is currently our this price is actually ranging. On our daily time frame, it is actually a pullback level, by the way. On our daily time frame, pullback level. On our 4-hour time frame, is kind of ranging. So if you want to take this buy position, the best time to actually take it is on our 4-hour time frame, and the to take it is that wait for our price to break out from this our highs here. Once our price break out from, then take your buy position and hit to that our previous higher highs on our daily time frame. This is our previous higher highs on our daily time frame. So on our 4-hour time frame, once our price can break above this kind of resistance line, then we can now take it straight upward to our previous highs on our daily time frame. USD CAD on our daily time frame, by the way, we all can see that our price is actually ranging. It is actually, an uptrend move, by the way. Let's see it this way. Okay, let's start with our weekly time frame. Sorry, weekly time frame. We all can see it is actually an uptrend move, right? And now of recent, we now had this drop, use massive drop. So if you are not to see it like this, we are now actually on an uptrend move again. You can see this higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So our USD card is actually giving us that movement upward, by the way. We all can see this our highs here. This was our highs. This was a pullback area. This was our higher highs of recent, our higher highs of recent. We now add this pullback. Now we are actually now having a rally movement upward again on our weekly time frame. You can see. So if you are to go weekly time frame, personally, once we look at all our correlation pairs on our USD, we can see that our USD is actually giving us a bullish move, and other pairs is dropping. Like our Euro USD is dropping, GBPUSD is dropping, our USDJPY is giving us an indication it is going up. It is even going up. So which means our USD card will actually give us an up movement, because the previous 2 weeks huge bullish move upward. Once our pullback is over, this week that just passed, huge bullish move. So the week that we are aiming for, we are trying to see, is that we will be having another bullish move again. So I'll tell you that take your buy position to this our previous higher highs, which is this week here. This week we are seeing, which is about 1.32212. Our previous highs, which is about that huge week, is about 1.32212. So take your buy position. That should be giving us about 100 pips. I think 180 pips, close to 200 pips, by the way. So if you can grab about 150 pips this week, I think on our USD card, it is actually okay, because I still believe we will break out from it. But before we break out, we might see a little bit of a pullback, but I still believe it will break out from it. And we can, if you want to go for like, take the trade for like 3-4 weeks, then you can consider grabbing 400, 500 pips. But currently, we would want to take our buy to our previous higher highs, which will be giving us about 100, and we should at least be grabbing 150 pips. So weekly time frame, we should consider taking our buy on our USD card. Daily time frame, we all can see this was, if you have to consider this as a range market like this, our price is actually ranging on our daily time frame. You can see that this was our lows, this was our highs, this was our lows. So this, if our price kind of get to this area, break out from this our previous higher highs that I am considering here, this will be about 1.30607. So if our price can actually break out from it, tap this our resistance, I believe our price will give us a pullback and again a rally movement upward. Reason is that GBPUSD dropping, Euro USD dropping, USDJPY giving us a rally movement upward, which means our USD card will now have strength. Since our correlation to our USD are dropping, so our USD card will have more strength to actually rally up. So USD card, we'll probably see once it goes high, it will have a pullback, then a huge, massive bullish move again on our USD card. So take it to this our liquidity area, because one thing is that once our price goes up, it tends to take out that liquidity area before we might see a good amount of drop here. But first of all, we would want to take out that our liquidity area, which will be giving us about 180 pips. At least if we can grab 150 pips on our USD card, that would be at least massive and good enough. Now, New Zealand USD, we all can see USD is going bullish, right? Let's start with our daily time frame. By the way, we all can see weekly time frame. I'm sorry, weekly time frame. We are actually on a massive move. We can see this huge, massive move. Once we start having this massive move, we tend to have it huge. It tends to go down like this. We all can see this massive move here, huge, massive move. The correction might not be that much of a correction, but once it is dropping massively. So that is it. We can see huge, massive drop, huge, massive drop. We all can see this a little bit of a pullback here and a good amount of massive drop here. See this correction here, and guess what? We'll be having another huge, massive drop. We all can see, if you are to see all what I've just highlighted, the key level, we see that we are actually on a downward trade. Impulse move downward, correction, impulse move downward, correction, impulse move downward, correction, because we can see that this lows has broken our previous lows here. Now we have a correction. What are we aiming again? And impulse move downward again. So weekly time frame, New Zealand USD this week, we should consider going short. We will be dropping on our New Zealand USD. Correlation pairs, if you have to look at it, GBPUSD, EURUSD, and all that, pair, you see that our USD itself will be gaining strength this week, next week. So weekly time frame, a drop on our New Zealand USD. Now deleted. Now daily time frame. So this is actually a huge movement now. So we are currently aiming to hit our previous lower lows. This was our previous lower lows on our weekly time frame here. We can see this huge week here. Even on our daily time frame, this was our previous this was our previous lower lows on our weekly time frame, by the way. So we can see this huge, massive week here. So we are trying to, for our price to hit this our lows, that will be giving us about 75 pips. If you are a day trader, you can actually short this, at least grabbing 75 pips, at least it is still okay, by the way. That is, if you are not going long term, 75 pips is still okay to grab on a currency pair, by the way. So once we have this huge drop that we are aiming for on this our lows here on our New Zealand USD, we will be having a pullback again. Once we have this pullback, then we'll be having another massive drop again. That is, so currently, if you are to have this pullback, which will be giving us a bullish move, right? This bullish move, then there's this pullback we are aiming to have on our, where did I sit, on our USDJPY or something like this. I can't really record that movement, but I mean, once we start having this massive move, there's some currency pair where our USD will start giving up, dropping. So once our USD now starts rising again, as we are all expecting, then our New Zealand USD will start dropping again. So to grab to this our previous lower lows here on our weekly time frame, that would be about 75 pips. You can actually take your short on our to that area, and if you want to go long term, then short it for 1 2 maximum of 3 weeks, because our New Zealand tends to drop massively, and huge drop. When it is dropping like this, it's dropped massively. That will be giving us, I think, possibly, let's say from here to there, this drop. Wow, that is about close to 500 pips, by the way. So which is actually good, right? Close to 500 pips, which is actually good. Other pairs will be giving us probably 300, 200 pips. Now this one will be giving us like 500 pips. Same thing with our GBPUSD. Once we analyze it, it will possibly be giving us about 500 pips. So I mean, this is also a confirmation that once our GBP is dropping, our EURUSD is dropping, then our New Zealand will be dropping. So for our time frame to actually short this our position, we all can see that this is actually a massive drop. Like we all expecting, we will continue to see that drop again on our New Zealand USD. We will continue to sit to this our lows, which will be about 75 pips. then we will get a pullback this area and a drop again. So 4 hour time frame, if you want to go grab the 75 pips, then I'll say once our markets open, then take your sell position. We'll actually drop and grab 75 pips. I'll consider you can take half of it, which is about 50 pips, no problem about that. So New Zealand USD still drop. You can actually take shots our position to this our lower lows, then opt out for it. Once we have this pullback, then you can actually now enter again and short it. 1 hour time frame, see the same thing, see a drop by the way. So New Zealand USD from weekly to 1 hour, it is actually a drop. And lastly is about what did I call USD Swiss franc by the way. So if you have to see it by the way, I actually took a trade on this my USD Swiss franc by the way, but which is about 13. So which is about 13. So I actually took the buy because I still believe, because our USD itself is actually rallying up. We all can see this huge movement. Let's start with our weekly time frame by the way. We all can see this was actually a drop, an impulse move, a drop, impulse move, a drop. Now we can consider this as an impulse move, and this our impulse move will very much likely to go up to hit this ice here. I still believe to hit this ice, which will be about 0.97852. So that is it on our Swiss franc by the way, because we all can see this was a low by the way. This was actually a low because you see our price came a bounce up, it came to this area and bounce up, and now our price has broken above it and very much likely to see that huge movement, then a drop again on our USD Swiss franc. We can also take it as a resistance area. See this ice here. So very much our USD Swiss franc will very much come up to tap this ice and a drop again on our USD Swiss franc. If you have to look at correlation pairs, any pairs relating to our USD is dropping and it's showing us a bearish move this week and next week. So which means our USD itself will see more strength. So USD Swiss franc will be giving us a bullish move this week. Let's see our daily time frame by the way. So daily time frame, this is actually a huge movement and we are actually on a correction, right? We've gotten this correction finish and now we are starting to rally upward on our USD Swiss franc. So this is actually a confirmation that this is actually a movement upward, a pullback, and now a rally movement on our USD Swiss franc. So consider taking our buy. So to actually pull the trigger, to actually take the buy, we sit from our 4 hour time frame. This is actually low, so you can actually wait for our price to break above this ice here. We are kind of seeing something like we are seeing something like a ranging market move here. When our price comes to this lows, it bounces up, it comes to this lows, it bounces up. You can see our price come to this lows and it is bouncing up. If our price can break above this, then I will probably say take your buy position upward. So we very much might see a continuous price coming and it drops again. If there's every possibility it will happen this week, it will happen. So I'm just saying it. But to actually take your buy on our 4 hour time frame, wait for it to break above this ice. The ice of about 0.96933. So good to actually go. And for 1 hour time frame, basically like our 4 hour time frame. So consider taking our buy. We all can see this 1 hour time frame, huge massive movement upward here on our 1 hour time frame. And we might be seeing a little bit of a pullback, a little bit, and a massive continuous bullish move. Then if our price can break above this our highs, then consider taking buy. If not, we might be seeing a drop again. So all I've just predicted on our USD is about USD itself. USD will be giving us a bullish move, while any pairs related to it will actually be dropping. So please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.